Hey, this is Sydnee A, and I am back with another exciting installment of Necro-Fiends of the Frozen Dead, where we are celebrating 25 years of the Frozen Dead and the Johnny Necro comics. And also, I'm here to plug my own stuff too. If you would like, you can get a copy of Everything I Need to Know I Learned in Go-Go. It's personal development with a spin, and you can get your copy at learnedingogo.com. But today, I am super excited to welcome Matt Bucurel. I almost said it wrong. Matt Bucurel to chat with me about how he knows Johnny and with what is going on with him. So let's welcome Matt. Yay! Welcome, welcome.
Thank you, thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
And for the folks at home who don't know, this is not our first time talking on the screen together.
Very true. I had the pleasure of having you on my podcast first.
That's correct. And Matt's podcast is part of the Purge Hangers and Wall Hangers Media Network. I was on Tales of the Hunted.
Yeah. It's still going. Still going. I actually recorded a fun episode with new to the media network of Comics and Pop-Tarts, Michael Florio. I recorded a podcast with him that I'm going to be putting up there in between the lug nut stuff. So that's probably the next one I'm going to be coming out. But podcasting is you know, it's the next kind of medium. So it's everybody goes to podcasts like this, social media and all that. It's, you know, it's weird being in that.
It is, but it's also super cool because you can talk about anything. You know, you can have podcasts about, you know, kitchen cabinet pulls if you want. Like there's all kinds of subjects out there. So no matter what you're interested in, there's a podcast for you. And if there's not, start your own. But we are discussing Johnny Necro, 25 years of this amazing comic series. And I want to know how you met Johnny. I want to hear your story.
So I met Johnny at first. I maybe said one or two words to him. It was at the Great Media Comic-Con the first year because I was part of the inaugural year. And then because of that Comic-Con, the previous podcast I was doing, which was the Triforce podcast, was kind of like everybody, like me, you know, Chris, myself, Kelly, we were all involved in this Comic-Con. So I was starting to do another podcast. I started with one woman from Triforce podcast, Katerina Thermoscara, my wonderful woman. And we did the Matt and Kat show for a couple times. And then I had Frank on, and then, you know, life kind of happened and you lose that podcast partner. And then I started doing a podcast with Frank Percy. And it started off just me and him. And then he's like, hey, we got to get Aleem on. And Aleem Leggett. God, he schooled me. He phonetically put it out there, and I still messed it up. See, you're allowed to mess up.
I think I messed up his first name when I met him, and I'm like, I'm so sorry. I think I actually called you the wrong name. So I understand completely. He is amazing. He's a great.
I love him. He's so great.
Great guy. And yeah.
I'm continuing to work with all of my previous guests on a lot of the projects I have coming up. And then through that, I met Mike, and then the next podcast I did was I had Mark Gervais said, you have to have Johnny Necro on your podcast. And as soon Johnny is, it's not the only way, but it's my way of describing him because he's a breath of fresh air, but he's like, he's like an ice cold drink on a hot day. Mm. Perfectly timed.
Yeah.
But that's exactly what he is.
Right. He's a force of good energy.
And I had him on once, and I'd had on Jim Cantanelli from X Night, and I just kept having on these amazing guys, and I saw very similar art styles between Johnny and Jim. And I knew just from having one podcast with Johnny, I was like, that's not enough. It's still not enough. I'm going to have him back on again. It's only a matter of time. But there's nobody else like him. And especially his story from going from homeless. That's where this started 25 years ago. He didn't have a home, and he still didn't let that stop him from being creative.
Yes.
You know, he's very inspirational. And then you talk to him, and he's a genuinely good guy who really cares about you. You
Yep.
know, it's one of those things to where Aleem said it perfectly to me once, and he said, "You know, I never imagined meeting so many new friends this late in life, and I would have never imagined that I'd meet somebody like Johnny Necro. He's truly an amazing person,
And
and his comedy is hilarious. Oh my God. The comic alone, I was like, I'm down.
yes,
I'm down.
because it's smart comedy. You know, it's
Yeah.
like there's layers to it and it's really funny. And what you said about meeting new friends, he is so eager to get all of his friends connected and help everybody any way that he can. He is just like, he's like the guardian angel of the community, you know? So
I was able to be that connection for Johnny and Jim because I did the podcast. I'm like, you guys got to collab. Like, I'm
yes.
telling you, you guys are going to love each other. And then later on, I mean, this is maybe like, half a year ago or so. Jim messaged me and he goes, "Man, I got to thank you for having me on that podcast with Johnny because, we did a collaboration and it was really awesome. And I want to thank you." And I was like, something I planned worked. But it's that kind of thing of you get your friends connected.
Yes.
And that's just it's Johnny. It's just a similar mindset I think a lot of people have in the indie industry.
Yep, I think you're right. And I think that everybody brings different things to the table. So it might be just that little missing piece in your own project this person brings, and then you can reciprocate that and help them with theirs. And it just, all ships rise. I say it just about every episode of this. When the tide comes in, all ships rise. So when we're all helping each other out, we can all move forward and get our goals reached, which is amazing.
Oh, absolutely. And I'm so happy for Johnny for 25 years of this comic because, it's inspirational. I've been doing podcasting for over 10 years.
Yes.
And it's something to where I'm like, damn, if I could get to that, like Johnny's level at 25 years, I think that's a good place to aim right there. It's something that you're happy to see your friend's success. And especially like, 25 years, dude, congratulations, man. Holy crap. You've been doing this awesome comic for 25 years.
Yeah,
Here's
I mean, I'm
25 more.
almost 25. Wink. No. And the other cool thing is that Johnny has all of his back issues available for free on his social media. So this is Johnny's link tree. Definitely check it out. Follow him on socials and you can catch up because I'm only starting with book 24. 25 will be out this fall. And I can't wait to just catch up on all of the things. So that's really cool. And while we're talking social media, you can follow Matt on all of the social media platforms at PG and WH for purge hangers and wall hangers. So you know what my next question is going to be, right?
PJ, not PG.
Did I say PG?
Yeah, we
sorry.
have turned PG from my beginning of podcasting days. I've toned down a bit, but no, it's PJ.
PJ, I need more caffeine. I'm sorry.
I do. It's fine. Everybody needs their caffeine.
Yes. But you know what the next question is going to be. Anytime anybody says purge hangers and wall hangers, I'm sure you get this question.
I'm probably never going to get tired of saying the answer.
What is a purge hanger?
Well, through my many years of podcasting, my podcast family and I have defined it as a person or group who love or infatuated with nerd and geek culture. And the best part about that is that you can be a nerd or a geek about anything. So at the end of the day, the answer is 42.
Meaning of life, for sure. Yes, I gotcha. Don't panic. It's 42.
But that's what it is. It's just being in the 90s, growing up then, it wasn't cool to be like a superhero nerd. Everybody watched the shows. You couldn't be a comic book nerd. You're the weird kid over there in the class. Now, look at us at the top of the. But it's crazy.
We are taking over the world.
You have college classes teaching comic book story.
Yes.
You have classes in high school, like Chris Domenico, for screenwriting. What? Where were these when I was going to school? I feel so cheated right now.
Absolutely. When I saw my kids' options for extracurriculars, I'm like, can I re-enroll? Like, I want to take these classes. I don't want to do like the algebra and that stuff, but like the
Fun stuff.
extracurriculars are fantastic. So
It,
yeah,
it,
we
it
definitely
should
were robbed.
it should be like my one alma mater of UTI, Universal Technical Institute, which that's where I learned automotive repair. And you can go.
Terrible name for an institution, but I
I
hope that
know. I was infected by UTI.
they
But I graduated, I paid for it. I could go back and retake any of those classes like whenever I want.
that's
Not that
fantastic.
I mean, not that I really would want to, but the
But the
option is
option,
there. Like I
yeah.
can just go to any UTI campus, like, hey, I want to take that class.
And that's pretty cool, especially the way that automotive technology evolves so quickly, to stay relevant if you wanted to go back and say, okay, well, now I want to work on this technology.
Well, if you're the type of person who thinks, "Oh, thank God I graduated. I'm never going to have to learn anything again," that's not the field for you. You got
That's
to
not
lose
life. You
that
got to keep
mindset.
learning. You can't
Yeah.
stop learning ever. Like, I love learning new things. That's one of the things that's so exciting about doing this for Johnny is meeting all new people and learning about them and learning about new things. I've gotten books I've bought from people that I've met through this, and I've artwork and comics and music. And I need more hours in the day to devote to learning the new thing.
Yeah. Well, absolutely. And that's one thing that I've had to do recently is, brush up on skills that I never thought that I would have to brush up on because through podcasting, I consider myself so fortunate as to all the opportunities that I do get. And this next opportunity I'll tell you about led to something that touched my heart. And it's through my best friend, Christopher Bristow, once again, introduced me to Jillian Russo. And Jill is making a book called Rediscovering Nature Picture Perfect Petals.
Oh,
Chris told her, Matt is a good photographer. I don't know where he got that, but apparently I am.
okay.
So I am the photographer for her coffee table book, where
Nice.
she does floral arrangements for weddings over in the main line. And she has a couple ideas that like a ballerina's dress made of flowers, different kind of portrait shots like that.
Okay.
And I was very fortunate to be, in this book. Literally, I mean, I can't show you much, but I have a book that I'm sketching out all these different ideas because it's gonna be about like 100 pages.
Nice.
Couple different opportunities from that I'm actually I'm excited about just from photography, from like shooting for a magazine.
Oh, very nice.
I mean, it's submitting another a photo for a magazine, for that kind of thing for the fall. There's a lot of stuff that she's introduced me to, but she's that person that I can literally spit that idea out and she'll run with it.
Right. That's amazing. I love people like that and sending you good juju for your new endeavors into magazine
Yeah.
photography. That's really cool.
Yeah, man. And obviously, I already reached out to you. We are definitely going to have you in the book. And it's one of those things that I have to reach out to my friends because I
Yes.
have all these ideas. And who's going to be in it? I got you. I know a lot of people. All right.
Yep.
We'll be fine. And, there's a lot of opportunities there. But I just spitballed an idea out to her 2 days ago. And, killed a couple yinglings and feeling creative. And I just mentioned to her how, I think we should try to do something for charity with a future book. And she's like, "Oh, I love that. We'll give a portion of book sales to charity. What charity do is important to you? What charity would you want?" And I said, "Well, it'd be for suicide prevention
Mhm.
because my uncle committed suicide, and it's something that's very, a very a big thing in the family. And I've been through it. I
Right.
remember the day and the time and the place that I remember it from. So I thought, you know what, suicide prevention, it's spoken of, but I want to make something there. So we're going to be throwing it's a charity party only
Okay.
like my uncle would have it. And it's going to be in York. It's going to be the township of York. Like the next day, she's like, so I talked to the mayor.
Oh, wow. Okay.
What? Yeah. And the borough manager. Look, I got a park. I got a place. I got beer, food. She has
She
like
just ran with
80% of
it.
it. Yeah. She has,
Yeah.
it's like it's all done. I didn't have to do a thing. But it's a fundraiser, and we're going to have that in September, and it's going to be the start of a foundation, and it's the Timothy J. Bucurel Foundation for Suicide Prevention.
Well, I'm sorry that you had to go through that, but I'm really glad that you're paying it forward to help other people.
And that's what it's about, you know? I mean, given the opportunity, I talked to Delco Spidey about this. I was like, dude, I want to do something with charity. I want to do something with charity. And they're just like, oh yeah, you know, there's this way, that way. But she was the first person to be like, nah, we got this.
Yep. She's like,
because then
boom.
portion of book sales, portion of this, that, and the third, you know, there's so much help that you could do. And just from something that dropped in my lap out of nowhere, you know,
I really believe that the universe puts us where we need to be when we need to be there to introduce us to different people, because there's so many times when you can reverse engineer something that happened to you, and it all comes down to one simple, somewhat, you know, at the time seemed like a meaningless decision that completely changes the course that you're on.
Because I always like to say it, but you don't know who you inspire.
Right.
You know, even especially through podcasting. And, you know, just don't be a shitty human being. Just be nice. And that's like 80% of it right there.
Yeah, that's, you know, the best affirmation in the morning you can tell people is don't be a dick. That's like your goal for the day. If you can get through the day without being a dick.
Everyone loves an asshole, but nobody likes a dick.
Well, yeah, I don't know.
You can choose.
Well, yeah. Completely unrelated. Did I see a dog?
Yeah, that's my mascot, Hero of Time. He went to his sunning room in the front there.
Okay.
Yeah, it's 1 o'clock, so it's time for him to get some sun.
What's his name?
Link.
Link. Okay, well, you have to give Link pets for me when we're done this, because he's adorable.
Oh, he will demand them. He will.
Yes, demand them. I'm an animal. I can't have my dogs in here. I would have one lab on my lap, and the other would be like knocking the table from underneath. So they're not allowed in the polecast room while I'm recording. So
understandable. He's a little bit more manageable. That's why I went with a small dog, because all right, we're going over here.
Yeah, mine are 75 pounds each. I don't pick them up and carry them around.
I don't need that. I don't need that. I'll go exercise.
Well, there you go. Well, steering us back to your charity event, would you have updates on that on your website, on social media? Where can people find out about that?
I will, but it's literally something that happened like 2 days. So it's something that's unfolding with the book. And it's going to be I'm going to have to. I'm going to get social media and stuff up for that and start sharing that out as soon as I can. But it is the rumblings of it is something that is, you know, it's only going to help. And, you know, a lot of people are just super excited about it, especially everybody over in New York and, you know, my family included. So it's definitely something that I didn't see it coming, but it's definitely, you know, it's definitely the right move. So it's right along that lines of what we're talking about, of just helping people and building everybody up. It's
absolutely,
it's what you're supposed to do.
So everybody can follow you on your social media, which is scrolling along the bottom, and also bookmark the website so that when opportunities arise and are on there, you don't miss out on that as well.
Absolutely. I'm going to be updating the website, especially to add some of my portfolio, the pictures of some of the pictures I can show you.
Not the secret Scooby pictures or secret Scooby pictures.
Yeah. Well, the book pictures, we're not putting any of those out.
Right.
Social. That you're going to have to pay for or go to a viewing, not a viewing. God, that'd be so
oh my God.
What do they call that? The art things where you go to the gallery and, you know, they have the pictures up on the wall.
Oh, yeah, like that art show.
There you go. Art show, not a viewing.
Not a viewing.
That went dark.
I know where you were going with that, but that was
all right, Gam. Now this is this picture of this book. We can have the coffee table book on the casket. Just move it to the side. It's fine.
It's the book reveal and wake.
Look, if they're willing, okay, I can be bought. can be bought. It's
There-
possible.
There's all kinds of opportunities out there. You never know. So,
Hey, you never know.
yep. And since we're talking about books, I'm
Yeah.
going to mention mine again too. So, Everything I Need to Know I Learned in Go-Go, How a Preacher's Daughter Pole Danced Her Way to Finding Her True Self, is available in paperback, a nice beefy paperback, or ebook at learnedingogo.com. So if you guys want to check out my book, I would appreciate that too. And Johnny's book, like I said, will be coming out in the fall. So definitely follow Johnny's stuff too. And I cannot wait to see the shenanigans that Johnny Necro continues to get into. I keep saying I love when there's like, okay, we're not sure where this is going. Boom, new timeline.
Yeah.
It's just,
Yeah.
it's just like, okay, now this person is this age and this one's doing this. And now there's two of you. What the hell? Like, what is going on?
The line between genius and madness is very thin.
Yes.
Very thin. And Johnny rides that line like lightning, I swear.
I love it. I love it. When I met Johnny, because I was at the first Great Media Comic-Con as well, but I don't remember meeting him the first year. And then this past year, I met him when he was dressed up as Doc from Back to the Future at the screening the first night, and he was Doc. Like, he just embodied that character, made sure that anybody that wanted pictures with him was having the full Doc experience.
Oh,
and
yeah.
he was just the nicest human being. Such a great guy.
He's
And
a
then I
showman.
hung out with him the rest of the weekend too. And he just brings you into his world.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
it's such a fun fucking world. You know? Like, it's
Yeah, I mean that's what a good, I'd say any kind of good artist, that's what they do. They want you to be drawn into that so much. And that comes down to Johnny's storytelling and
Yes.
you know, his brilliant comedic mind of how he could just suck all your attention into this comic and you just want more. You're like, all right, well, you got 20, at least 25 more years to go, bud. Let's keep it up.
That's what I keep saying. We got to do this another 25 years because the puns and the pop culture references and like all the just Brett is so freaking funny. Like just this little angry heart is like things you never saw coming. It's just like, oh, okay.
Yeah, they just come out of left field, and that's some of the best parts about his comics is just that classic comedy.
Yes.
Not pulling any punches, but he's making it a very expertly told joke.
Absolutely. And I think we need more humor like that, you know, like
The
things
world
are
will
getting,
always need that.
yeah, absolutely, to keep the positive vibes flowing. And then on top of that, he's got his music. He's now like filming a scene for a movie. He's doing a soundtrack for another movie. Like, I don't think he sleeps. I really,
You know, some people say that about me.
I believe it because you're always busy too.
I see him in public. They're like, dude, every time I see you, you have something new going on.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, should be.
If you're bored, you're not trying hard enough. So there should always be something new to find out about or give a try to. And you know, like I feel bad for the people that grew up 50 years ago, 100 years ago, when it was like, okay, you're going to go work at the factory for 35 years and get your gold watch and retire and die in like 5 years. And that was it. And now, like, we have so many opportunities to, like, you know, you're 50 and you want to start a new job, give it a go. You know, like,
I mean, yeah, and I always like to bring it up, but I always, just as a joke, I like to say that none of my friends have passion. But what it is it's that mentality. They get comfortable in their life. They have this routine, and it like an old wagon trail. It has a deep rut. You know this. You've been doing it, and some people are like, you know what? Just 10 more years, I can retire, relax, and that is fine for some people. That's what you want to do. That's what you want to do. I'm not here to judge you, but for some, you're trapped in that daily hell of I have to do this and there, and there is no passion in what you're doing. You know?
right.
I'm not saying you're not eating; you're just eating bread. You know, you're not having the full spread, the full 5-course meal. You're just sitting there numbing on a roll.
Numbing. And not only that, but some people do have that desire to do something different, but they let their fear override their desire. And you have to have You have to be willing to be uncomfortable to grow. I actually
Yeah.
tell a story about that in my book. But that is like the way that once you stop letting fear drive you, your world opens up, because we're only going around once. So why not get every experience, like wring every experience out of this life that you can,
Yeah.
and
It's
enjoy
it's
it.
it's easy to look at somebody else, especially like me or you or Johnny, and say, "Oh my God, look at them. They're doing all that. They have all that going on." Everybody has their highs and their lows,
Oh
even
yeah.
myself. I don't want to do this. Oh, I'm dreading that. When you do what you love and you're passionate about, that's where people can really see, like, oh, okay. Well, why didn't I see that guy? The
Right.
guy I saw was a lazy bastard. I'm like, yeah, I'm sorry. It's one or the other.
Exactly. It's like toddlers. You're either running at 100% or you're napping. Like there's no in between. You just
Yeah,
crash.
it, that's it. And it's easy to get lost up in the, hey, what about all this, because you're not focusing on yourself. But that's where ultimately it has to come down to. You have to be okay with the person you're looking at in the mirror.
Absolutely.
You
Because
gotta at
that's who
least be
you
able to look
are
them in the
all
eye.
the time. Yep. And the other thing about fear, because like I do a personal, not a personal, positive, that's the word I'm looking for, a positive affirmation video every morning live. And when I started them years ago, I was terrified to hit that button and go live, because I might make an ass out of myself, or I might say the wrong thing, and I just had that voice in my head. So I started doing, I don't know if you've ever heard of EFT tapping. Are you familiar with that? It's kind of like an acupressure thing where you like tap different points
Oh, okay.
and you say something over and over again, and it does work. So I would do that, and then I could hit play, and then over time I didn't need to do the EFT tapping anymore. And now, like if you've seen them, the dogs are knocking over the tripod. Like the other day, I'm just like, excuse me, I have to cough, and I like jumped out of the screen and I jump out, like I just roll with it. And part of that is learning from the people around me that are doing it. And that's one of the wonderful things that Johnny does that we were talking about, is like, oh, okay, is this what you are passionate about doing? I know somebody else that is got doing this part of it. Maybe they can give you a hand until you're more comfortable to do it, and it's like having all of these people that are willing to be your training wheels for a little while before you know how to ride yourself. That came out wrong. Before you know how to ride the bike yourself.
Right.
Like I was saying, I just hit record now,
the
and
thought was there. Yeah.
yeah, it's the thought that stinks. But that's one thing he's kind of like, the Captain Steuben on our big love boat of creativity, is he's just there to like help everybody. And it's really, he's a special person, because not a lot of people do that. A lot of people are just out for themselves, and it's a breath of fresh air, like you said.
Yeah. I mean, that's why I say that's the best way to describe them, because, not everybody will just listen to your crazy ideas and take them seriously like you do. Not everybody's like Jill. Not everybody's like Johnny. Not everybody's like my business partner, Chris Bristow. Good
Yep.
Lord. He's the real victim. He hears all my crazy ideas.
Right.
So,
And he still shows up, right?
yeah,
You
slap a
haven't
medal
scared him
on any
away.
of them.
Right.
But it's that kind of thing of sometimes you get in your own head, like you're saying, and it's almost like a cork stopping up the creativity. And
Right.
you can't pop it out there. It's sometimes the fear can seem overwhelming. But I was doing a podcast with my friend. Oh God, it was so many years ago. It was about like 5 years ago. My friend Matt Kennedy. And he said, and I never forgot it after that, because I applied it to many other things. And he said, "Look, I'm always nervous before any podcast." And I go, "Even now?" He goes, "Especially now. If you're not nervous before you're about to do that podcast, you're too comfortable. Something's wrong.
Yep.
You have to have, like you're saying, that uncomfortable feeling, like, I don't know, and trust your gut and jump in. It's a lot like jumping into the pool when nobody taught you how to swim.
Right.
Like, guess what? It's time.
You'll figure it out while you're in there.
And you do, I mean, especially with, even editing. something I've been doing for so long. It's being able to cut a moment and express it the way that you see it.
Yeah.
One of the first things that I see a lot of people doing when they go into editing is video games. And I was no different. I did a whole bunch of video game content on my previous company. And I got compliments and free games from developers and stuff like that. So where you get that kind of, dopamine rush there, and you're like, oh shit, this is kind of awesome. And then through podcasting, and then I did the graphic reels for the intro and category videos for the Heroic Awards this year. Where
Nice.
and that's just one of the things to where Mike Florio, he was like, "Hey, I got this opportunity, and I think you guys can really you can knock it out of the park and set that staple." So we were Purge Hangers and Wall Hangers was in front of a bunch of people at the Heroic Awards. Our logo displayed loud and proud everywhere, and it was at C2E2, the second biggest Comic Con in the country.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So through and Chris had family stuff. Mike had family stuff. It was like, all right, man, do you got this?
It's like, you're on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And one meeting with Chris, and I was like, no, I got this. And I did it. It was a lot of work, especially because when you're doing something like that, you're really hyper focused.
Oh, yeah.
And, it affected me. Like I was so nervous. It got into my gut, and I was like, oh, I don't care. I got to get this done. And I
Right.
did, and they loved it. And they want us back again next year. For their
Congratulations. That is awesome.
Imagine Indie Arts and Entertainment Arts and Entertainment Expo. And it's gonna be a bunch of things like everything indie. It's gonna
Okay.
it's gonna cover everything. It's gonna be massive. It's gonna be in St. Louis, I believe.
Oh, okay. That's a great central location to get lots of people coming from all over the country.
Yeah, so they got their whole plan there, and the Heroic Awards will pretty much they'll be going from there. At least last I heard when I talked about it with them. And they're all great guys over there. It's one of those things of one of your friends just giving you it's like giving you a golden apple. Like, hey, do you want this?
Yes.
Okay.
Cool. Well, for those who don't know, what are the Heroic Awards? Because I know I voted for Aleem, but
it was the first year, but it was an indie comic awards show. So it was for indie by indie. So it had over 200 nominees, 100 judges, and the judges weren't like, all right, all 100, you judge everything. There was the judge for this. There was the judge for this. And it was very selective. The way they ran the award show was really good because it gave you an honest look at the indie comic scene. And especially, I had to fall on the sword. I had to read all of the finalist comics. Okay?
Oh, wow. That's hard.
I know. I'm still recovering. I'm still recovering,
Yes.
Hang on.
Oh, there you go. You patting yourself there.
Ooh, it's I get so much active work here. I need some assistance patting myself on the back sometimes. But all the success, it's just for me just being boosted up by everybody,
Exactly. And
yourself included. You came on the podcast when, it's just a crazy asshole and this comic legend just talking about stuff, and
it was so fun.
Evolved.
And I really appreciated that you offered for me to come on because I was so doe-eyed. Like I had no idea what was going on. And I'm just like, yeah, sure. Like I'll come on and talk. And it's just been so fun learning how to be on both sides of the interview.
Yeah.
Because you had only had one interview by then. You were telling me how it was weird.
It's weird being interviewed. It still is. And especially with the book, Jill already she's like, well, guess what? I told them if they want an interview, they have to have the three of us. I was like, oh, okay. So I'm going to be more interviews.
There you go. See, now you can talk about books and you can talk about like all kinds of different things, which is really cool.
Never say no and close the door to an opportunity.
Very good.
I don't think it's the right time for me right now. Hey, let me circle back on this. Hey, you know what? Give me time to think about this before I make a decision.
Yes.
That is a lot better than just saying no. And it's still something that even I myself have to work on. But it's a winner mentality to not close that door.
Yep. And the opposite side of that is also guard your sanity too, and don't say yes to everything immediately either, because then all of a sudden it's like, I haven't slept in 5 days.
Still learning that one myself, but yeah, it's a good one to learn.
It's because I want to do all the things. I get so excited, like, and I'm having such a great time, but then it's like the universe is like, and you need to rest, and then it just takes your knees out from under you.
Oh yeah. When you burn the candle at both ends, like, hey, here or there, once or twice, you can make that work. But if you keep burning that candle, like, you're gonna pay.
Yeah.
I think everybody's learned that lesson once.
Once or twice or 12 times. Maybe one day I'll learn it for real. But it's fun though to like just keep meeting new people and taking on different things. I mean, I'm sure a year ago you didn't see a book about flowers on your radar at all. And I certainly didn't see doing a mini series about Johnny Necro on mine. So you never know what is in the future. And I love that.
Yeah. It's just keeping that open mind. That's how the person watching this podcast, that's how you're going to get there. You have that friend like, you know what? I got this crazy idea and I think I can make it work. That's how I got here. I had a friend and he said, you know what? Nobody knows the video game industry like I do, like you. So why don't we do a podcast? And it started from there. It started I'll cap it at 10 years ago. It was 10.
A decade.
Just every time somebody asked, it was just 10. It was all the way 10 years ago. Like, you've been doing this for 50 years. Like, it was 10 years.
It was only 10 years ago. Yeah. When I try to like stop and think about how long ago some things were, I'm like, surely that's not possible.
Oh, yeah. I got my math wrong.
I'm only 23. How is that possible that was 35 years ago? It's crazy. Time flies. So grasp everything as you're flying through it.
Yeah. Grasp at every straw.
Yes.
That's the only way that you're going to make it through happily, I think, is you have to really, like we were saying earlier, you got to like the person in the mirror and you got to really think, what do I want to do?
Yes.
Because I answered that a long time ago. I remember sitting in my car, listening to music, smoking a cigarette, a very young Matt man, and fresh out of high school, going into college. I was going to college and I hated community college. I was not good in traditional school. I was like, man, what do I want to do for the rest of my life? Which is also a very horrible question.
I want to rock. That was that.
But I said, you know what? I want to help people how I can.
Yes.
And now I'm in so many years later. I'd like to think I did some good, in the auto industry, being a service advisor, being a mechanic, helping fix cars. I've seen so many people look at me very genuinely and say, thank you very much. Like, I'm here, you're paying for a service, but the genuine thanks you get, because this is a person at their worst moment.
Yeah.
They do not want to see you.
Yeah.
And you have to then turn it around. That was one of the fun things. Not to make it fun, like twisting your life around is the puppet master, but being able to change somebody's mood.
I was just going to say that, because when somebody's dealing with something so frustrating and they're angry, and how you approach them in that moment can completely change how they deal with that situation. So that's wonderful that you were able to.
You have to. Well, it's also, they're not going to buy anything off you if they're fucking crying. I mean, I've tried that. It does not work.
No, I wouldn't think so.
It does not work. I'm sorry, ma'am. You need an axle. I was like, oh my God, like, I'm sorry. But sometimes you get people at that. And then at the end, hey, I took this much off from what I told you. I took this much more off. So that way I could try. I always tried to go from looking at it as if I was in their shoes.
Right.
Like, all right, this is a business, but doesn't mean you can't be a human being.
Exactly. And that's my bottom line, is I'm a golden rule person. So like, I really try not to do anything to someone else that I wouldn't want done to me, like, in this situation. And I try to take a step back when I'm angry before being reactionary and try to weigh all the options. And I mean, there's always going to be assholes that are just assholing, and it doesn't matter. But, you know, like at the end of the day, at least I'm being as good as I am instead of being as bad as they are. That's how I try to look at it.
Yeah, you're not going home with them.
Right.
They gotta live with themselves.
They've got to look at their person in the mirror, and I have to look at mine. So
you just gotta stay. I think we actually mentioned this when you were on my podcast, is that the person you're interacting with is just one gigantic ball of trauma that somebody else left in your hands.
That's true.
So
and it's sad how many people are dealing with things because of other people's misuse, and it sucks. But they should
also
really take, that's true. So they should take some time and get lost in the world of Johnny Necro and be a better human being for it.
Exactly. Because then I guarantee you they will laugh.
They would absolutely laugh.
How you change that frown upside down, Charlie Brown.
That's right. And you could go to Johnny's Linktree and get your own copy. And then in the fall, when the 25th anniversary comes out, you can get that one too, which I'm super excited about.
I think I've gotten a hint of that from
just
this
a little
conversation.
bit.
A little bit.
Just a little bit. So, well, is there anything else that you have going on that we can let everybody at home know about?
Well, obviously we got Tales of the Hunted podcast. That is something that obviously I will be getting back into and getting started back up there. So if you want to be hunted, metaphorically, by my fans, then I want you on the podcast. And like I said, we have on, being a nerd is anything and everything. So we've had on music nerds, we've had on comic nerds, we've had on directors, film nerds. You know, there's a whole bunch of different facets of the nerdy realm that you could be part of and still be on Tales of the Hunted. So I'm always looking for people to hunt.
And as someone who was hunted, I must say it is a really fun time. So definitely reach out and connect with Matt, because it is a really, really fun podcast.
And then the other podcast that has been going for well over probably going on 4 years now on the website. You'll probably see it pop up more often than any other podcast, but it's my brother's podcast that I am co-host on, which is the Lug Nuts podcast. We talk about everything in the automotive industry from around the globe. So you're not just hearing about Dodge and Toyota. You're hearing about Dacia, Renault, Aston Martin. You're seeing what concepts are coming out in China and Japan. We have recall information, important recall information, especially if you don't like fires.
Oh, yeah.
Chevy, I'm looking at you. But it's one of those things that, just don't buy a Bolt.
Okay, no.
Just don't talk about it.
That's not what I drive. Okay. No. Tahoes are good, right? I'm good with my Tahoe. I'm not going to blow up.
I mean, that's up to them.
Statistically.
It's really not up to me, really. I mean, I had when I was working at Acura, there was a woman. She came in and she had to have her car towed in because it was burnt, like crispy
critter. Oh.
So we asked her what happened. She said, I don't know. It just started smoking and caught on fire.
That's not good.
So sometimes shit like that happens.
My best friend got a rental car. I forget exactly what it was, but she was driving in LA and it just did the same thing. She had to pull over because the whole thing caught on fire. And I think she was most upset that she had a CD in the CD player at the time. But when she called to get the rental company and they're like, I will give you another car. What do you want? She goes, one that won't catch on fire.
Yeah, preferably.
It's like, I'm not picky about make model. Just let's not have it be on fire while I'm driving it. That would be.
Well, and the other thing that is, I would say, even just a nice little kernel of knowledge is all these cars are coming with safety devices, advanced diagnostic safety systems, ADAS. So with these, like collision mitigation braking, the car stopping in front of you, it goes off of sensors. If that camera is not calibrated right, when it catches some of them, I have seen on a couple different manufacturers, but it'll catch the reflective sign for the highways and it'll stop because it thinks it's a car.
See, now that's what terrifies me about these vehicles that drive themselves, and the fact that they're like, oh yeah, we're going to approve 18-wheelers. No.
You know what?
No.
I'd still say it's still probably safer than a lot of people out there on the roads. I mean, I'm not judging you guys, but I'm judging you guys.
Put down the phone. Put down the phone.
Oh my God. Yeah, I know.
When we drive up the Northeast Extension, I've started counting the number of people that are driving with their phone in their face. But the winner was the guy that had the laptop on the passenger seat and was actively typing while driving at 80 miles an hour up the highway.
That's
Where's
impressive.
Your brain?
That's
Where's your
impressive,
brain?
though. Oh my God! Like, I gotta get this dissertation done now.
Like, whatever it is, stop, pull over in the shoulder and do it. Like, I was there was a girl texting in the tunnel. Like, you don't have wiggle room in the tunnel. Put it down. Okay, I'm getting off my soapbox now, but that just, it gives me agita. Like, and I honestly don't know how there's not more accidents when you look around.
Just if we're putting out driving pet peeves, stopping where there's not a goddamn stop sign.
Oh, that happened 3 times on the way back from the doctor with my daughter today. 3.
Oh my God, there's no stop sign. You have the right of way.
Yeah.
If big red octagon, that's when you stop. It tells you STOP, as my father said, stop tires on pavement. Stop.
There you go.
Apparently you can't use a word in the definition though.
Yeah, see, I say slow to observe police, but that's probably not good advice. So don't
slow to observe police.
Yeah.
I like that one. I actually no. All right.
But I was like yelling at the person. I'm like, "Do you stop at green lights? Like, what is going?"
No, they wait. You got to wait a couple seconds on that green light to make sure it doesn't change a separate shade of green.
Oh my God! Yeah,
you got to be. These green lights are tricky out here. Okay.
Yeah. It might be chartreuse. Yeah, that when my kids started driving and the stuff coming out of their mouths, I'm like, that's my genes right there. Like they learned that. Yeah.
That's when you get the proud parent patch.
Exactly. You know, when they're like, that's the only shade you're gonna get. I'm like, yep, that's me right there. So be safe on the road out there, folks.
Well, yeah, it's not even just don't drive fast. Like, look. If somebody is riding your ass, you don't have anywhere to be. Get over.
Yeah, exactly.
2 lanes. Get over.
Yeah, left lane is for passing. So if you're not passing and you're clogging, move your ass over.
I'm gonna show them. You're not.
No, you're not. You're
not showing them. No. You're not.
Well, you're showing them that you're an asshole.
Yeah, that's the only thing
you're showing them.
I'm gonna teach them.
Yeah,
you're not teaching.
Yeah. Yeah, I was born and raised in Jersey, so that's where I learned how to drive. And the New Jersey Turnpike is kind of like the American Autobahn. You know, the speed limit signs are just there for show. You just gotta go, or you get run off the road.
I was going to a wrestling event, and I popped over the Commodore Barry, and I was going up, and I'm in, I'm not even in the far left lane. I'm going like 85, and I have people on my ass, and I'm like.
Welcome to Jersey.
There's a whole other lane over there. Like, why?
When I was in college,
I'm not going 65 either. I was going like 80.
Right.
And then they're like, why so slow?
Exactly. Yeah, I went to college in Kentucky, and I brought one of my friends back to Jersey for one of the breaks. And we were going up the turnpike, and he looks at me, he goes, "Is there no speed limit on this road?" Because we were like flying. I'm like, there is, but you can't. That's not the limit, or you're going to get hurt going
there
too
is
slow
a big difference, though, between a New Jersey driver and a New York driver.
Oh, God,
because a New York driver you will believe in God.
Yeah.
By the end of that, I didn't know an off-ramp was actually an optional turn lane. Who knew?
As soon as I see that's a certain shade of orangey yellow, I just am like, oh, because I know. New York driver.
Oh my God, man. They're dangerous.
Yeah.
Okay. Jersey, I at least respect you guys more than New York drivers. My God.
Well, the thing is, I'm Jersey by birth and I'm Delco by marriage. So I've been over here for 16 years, but we're like efficient. That's what it's not a bad driver. It's a fast driver. Like I don't stop at green lights and, like make up stops where there's no stop signs. Like there's a difference.
That's probably why I haven't actually had a problem going to anywhere in Jersey. Not only because I'm very happy to pay the $5 to get out of there. I mean, honestly, I think you're lowballing me because I'd pay 10. Gladly. I'd pay 10. But I do appreciate the efficiency of a Jersey driver.
Yes.
Very efficient.
The jug handles are goofy, but the drivers are efficient.
Way too many roundabouts.
Yeah.
Way too many roundabouts.
They're building them around here now, all over Delco.
Oh,
I'm like, why?
no.
Why?
They don't work at all. But,
no.
You know, I mean, the one thing I will say I will always hold against Jersey is that you are a flat state. Elevate your goddamn roads. I went to this one wrestling show, and we didn't even know it rained. I went in, it was dry. I came out, looked dry. Apparently, it was like a torrential downpour, and then like the way.
Oh no, you froze. Come back.
There I am.
Oh, wait, there you are. Okay. It was a torrential. Okay. Ooh, you're back. Yeah. So there was a torrential downpour.
There was a torrential downpour, and I was going back, and I went through you know, it went up to my grill, and then I got to where I saw the roundabout. The roundabout disappeared. It was just nothing but water, and it's like, all right, well now I have to go trudge through that water again and find high ground in Jersey.
Was that the Brooklawn Circle on Route 130?
Maybe, yeah, because I think I was going to go. Where was that? Pine Center. It was down at the Pine Center, and oh man, I forget. I just put it in Waze.
Because that was either Brooklawn Circle is known to, like, that closes whenever it rains because it goes so far underwater. But if you were going somewhere in the Pines, that might have been Route 206 Circle.
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it was down there, but it's a perfectly fine state. Perfectly fine. Just elevate your goddamn roads.
Well, like I said, I haven't lived there. You know, like
you're flat. The entire state. A lot of people don't know. They only go to what's on the other side of Jersey, which is the ocean. Right. That's the only part of Jersey to care about.
Up north, there are mountains, but that's like a whole different part of Jersey that no one remembers even exists. So, because it's like that top west corner is all in the mountains. Nobody goes there.
Too close to New York.
Yeah.
Nobody cares. That is where we want. Fuck no. Forget the mountains. There.
We're going down the shore.
It was a hell of a deal. I mean, a couple beads for the entire island.
Yeah, that's true. That is true. And see what they did to it.
Capitalism, am I right?
Well, on that note, I'm going to once again encourage you to pick up your copy of Johnny Necro, the Frozen Dead series. And thank you so much for joining me on this, Matt. It's great to see you again.
It's great to see you as well. It was my pleasure to be on.
And I hope we can do more podcasting again soon.
Absolutely.
Awesome. All right. Bye-bye.